Thanks for listening to Get in the Hole, your #1 stop for all things in the world of golf. Watch and subscribe anywhere you get your favorite shows on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Google, and more. Just search Get in the Hole. Get in the Hole is the official golf pod of the Underground Sports Philadelphia family of podcasts. Now let's get right into the action. Here's your hosts, Steve McAvoy and Ben Pirro.
Philadelphia, baby, you're going to love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
I remember I was going to, it was like Saturdays. My mom would drive me at like 11. Down the road from my house was the Toys R Us, rest in peace. Of course,
well, they're back, actually. Before you continue, right. Toys R Us, did you see this?
Not really.
No, like, they're legit back. They're putting Toys R Us inside of Macy's.
Yeah, but like, it can't be that big.
It's like how I'm trying to think of the, like, back in the day.
I just can't walk into a Macy's and like envision myself in like a Toys R Us. Like, they're
back though.
Yeah,
Toys R Us.
Well, I've seen for years they have like the little what's the giraffe's name?
Jeffrey.
Yeah, Jeffrey the fucking giraffe. The mascot.
My name's Jeff.
My name's Jeff. It was all over the like the entryways. You could like get like a you could like donate, and it's like I was like, oh, why is Jeffrey the giraffe here? I guess now I understand why. 3 years in the making, they've been marketing this subliminally for years. But yeah, so I used to go to Toys R Us, for Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments, and I would like fucking bring the cards. My fucking mom one year bought me the arm piece thing.
I had the Seal of Orichalcos one when they like went to Atlantis and everything. Like, bro, they had the symbol and everything. He turned evil. I had that one.
Now so I had one of them, probably like the OG one they used to market. Now, of course, I'm like 5 years younger than you, so like it's obviously different eras. You grew up probably when I was like first like bought in, because like I got into it like elementary school, like kindergarten, like 2003.
I got my first pack of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. They were the OCG, so like they were Japanese, at Spencer's.
Jesus. I used to get them at it was baseball cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and Pokemon cards. I get them every single time, and it was a clockwork. I would go to like Target or Walmart with my mom or grandma, and as a thank you for walking around and getting shit for them, and like enduring the 2 hours of like going to Walmart and Target, they'd get me a pack of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, like a pack of Pokemon cards or baseball cards, whatever it was that I wanted that day. And so I amassed this collection. And it's honestly a shame because my mom threw out like almost all of it. So like I definitely had, without even realizing it, some like holographic Pokemon cards, like some dope shit that my mom tossed out. The one thing I know that I had that I'm like, wow, like why'd you get rid of this? My mom got rid of my GameCube that had, wait, dude, hold on. Is it, like I literally bought all of this stuff, and I was like, I'm gonna redo my childhood. Now, like slowly, they're getting more and more and more expensive. But Zelda the Wind Waker, which was I think like $150 retail now. Double Dash, Strikers. I had the Harry Potter game. Luigi's Mansion.
My sister just got me the new Harry Potter game that's coming out in February for the Switch.
Bro, Kay and I are so hyped for that. Like she's getting it on PC, but apparently they're trying to like make an integration on Xbox, and
yeah, it's supposed to be cross-platform.
Yeah, so if they do that, I'm definitely gonna get it. But like I had Luigi's Mansion, I had Mario Sunshine, I had Super Mario on the GameCube. Like I had
Super Smash Brothers.
Yes, Smash Bros. I had all these games.
I still have Smash Brothers with the case.
I had like thousands of dollars of value, and my mom threw it out. I'm like, Ma. I even had like the limited edition like orange controller. I had so much stuff, and she just tossed it.
I still have my GameCube still works.
Oh, I bought a new one for like $20. I bought that.
It's one of the best consoles ever.
I bought the GameCube for $20 with the controller, and as of late, I'm gonna sound like a total nerd. I watch a lot of like Gary V videos, and lately, like his big thing has been like garage sales.
Wait, who videos?
Gary V.
Okay.
Yeah. So lately, I've been going to garage sales, And like you find games, like I will buy every GameCube game they have. I don't really care. So far I've amassed in my new collection. So I got Luigi's Mansion for $4. I wasn't gonna go this far because the guy actually knew the value. I almost bought Double Dash for like $60, which like really when you think about it, it's worth it because it's like $200 probably. I just simply didn't have the money, and I was trying to be like, yo, bro, $20. I probably should have gone even lower, thinking you didn't know anything of what it was. But like you can find this kind of stuff anywhere now. Legos is another thing that I'm trying to get at garage sales because my mom threw all those out.
My sister started getting me Legos for like Christmas presents.
Dude, like the nostalgia of us as kids, like all this stuff is so valuable. And I cannot believe my mom managed to toss all of it.
That's why I love collecting Funko Pops now, because like down the line they're gonna be like what everybody's after. I just got this one in the mail today. You want to see this? You'll love it.
Let's see it. Oh, let's see it. Exclusive reveal here. Oh my god, I love that.
New York Comic Con, but 2016, I think.
But you haven't even watched Game of Thrones yet.
I watched House of the Dragon though.
All right, fine. I'll give you that.
Spoiler, no context. Your thoughts? Did you watch all of it?
I have 2 episodes left.
Okay, I won't say anything.
Yeah, I'm struggling behind.
I'll say this: text me when you watch the finale.
I will. It'll probably be on Wednesday or Thursday.
Because they are episode 9 and 10. This is what they say in the after show after episode 10, I think. Yeah. They say that they're sister episodes, so they go hand in hand.
Okay. All right. No, I will definitely let you know, and maybe I'll come on a streaming season and we'll chat.
Yeah, we gave our official show review for it last week. Episode 100 of Streamer Season this week.
Very impressive. What? Well, you know what episode of Get the Hole are we at right now?
This is number 80.
It's number 80? Shit, man. And I've been on for what? Probably
more than half.
More than that?
Yeah. At least probably at least 75% of the episodes.
Dude, this has been
give or take
quite the ride. Incredible so far. With that being said, let's strap in, get on the roller coaster rides. By the way, I want to ride the Velocicoaster in Universal so bad again. I don't know why. I woke up from a dream and I'm like, yo, I was riding this.
I've never been to Universal.
We're gonna go and we're gonna go ride Hagrid's because it's gonna be amazing.
Love that. Shout out to
bring your sister because
she loves it there.
Shout out Tom Felton for being a fucking dude,
the legend. With
that being said, welcome into the Get in the Hole podcast. Steve McAvoy, Kyle Bennett here, episode 80 of the Get in the Hole pod. I apologize in advance. Obviously, I live in an old apartment, so we still have the fucking buzzers outside, and all the 5-year-olds trick-or-treating are going to be incessantly knocking on it. People have already rung it. I have not even bothered to go down there. I put the candy bowl out and said, here, have at it. Probably some punk-ass kid stole all the candies. Then again, it was like 80% Whoppers. Like, why do you even want those?
Hey, we did our top. We switched it up. It's now Squire Sixes. Shout out to Colin Squires, follower and listener of the Get in the Hole podcast. Player for the Whip Snakes Lacrosse Club. He's who our top 5 has been named after on OTB. But we switched it to sixes, so now it's like, Squire Sixes. DJ's number 4 candy in our top 6 was Whoppers.
That's absolute BS. That's like
his number 1 was Almond Joys too. So do with that with what you will.
Almond Joy is like, I don't know what's the ugly like step sibling, whether it's Almond Joys or Mounds. I don't know which one it is.
I think it's Mounds. I don't like both.
What's the difference? Aren't they both coconut?
Mounds is dark chocolate, and it has
they have it
something else that Almond Joy doesn't. I forget what it is.
Both super overrated candies.
Both very much not my favorite. All right, I just personally don't like coconut.
Before we chat about what's happening down south of the border, candy draft, 5 picks. I'll give you the first overall pick. Go ahead.
Reese's Cups.
I'm gonna go with the classic Hershey chocolate bar for my 101.
After that, I'll go same way I did on OTB. Make sure you listen and download. Three Musketeers. I'm a huge Three Musketeers fan.
You know, I'm surprised that you would go Three Musketeers so high in the draft because I feel like they're like a solid 4th-round pick.
I love a Three Musketeers. Like if it's like Reese's, and then if Reese's aren't there,
whoa! What did you just say?
I said it's Reese's for me, and then if Reese's aren't there, I'm taking a Three Musketeers.
It's Reese's first of all, but tomato. I'm gonna go Twix, my 2nd overall pick.
Also, we're good for however long because breaking news: Game 3 of the World Series has officially been postponed.
Sad. I can't watch Philly lose today.
Not a Phillies World Series run without a postponed game by rain.
Well, it's always fun. It's always sunny in Philadelphia, right?
Yes. Pick number 3. Give me Sour Patch Kids.
Classic. I'm gonna go Skittles.
Number 4. You'll all hate me for this. I also did this on OTB. I only really eat them around Halloween because that's typically when you only see them. I love candy corn, but I'm gonna go Dots.
It's interesting pick, really interesting. Where my 4th pick? You know, I've been eating a lot of them at work lately. I've been getting a lot more into them. Really underrated play here. Give me the 100-gram bar.
I don't know the last time I ever had one of those.
Super underrated.
Break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar.
How Kit Kat fell to the 5th round is a ludicrous deal. I'm gonna go with the most underrated candy of all time, and it's even better in your popcorn. The Bunch of Crunch, particularly the Bunch of Crunch. You put it in your You put it in the popcorn of the movies. It's amazing.
There's a couple others that I would go before that in the popcorn.
I'm gonna post that, and we're gonna debate it further.
I would go. There's 2 candies I'd go in the popcorn beforehand.
Ooh, what was it?
Peanut M&Ms.
I just don't like the peanut M&Ms.
Bangs. And then my go-to whenever I go to the movies, I get the cookie dough bites.
I knew you were gonna say that. When I found out, so I have a friend who actually works at a candy distributor, and when I found out what's in those things,
I don't care,
bro. The same stuff that they use to solidify tire rubber is put in not only that, but also Subway sandwiches.
That's why I'm so bouncy.
Yeah.
I'm like Tigger.
But it's nasty. Folks, the Bermuda Butterfield Championship, really appropriate. They had the Butterfield Championship the week of Halloween. By the way, Halloween right now on Get in the Hole. Granted, it's a Monday. This comes out tomorrow on a Tuesday. But happy Halloween, KB.
Happy Halloween to you and yours. Favorite holiday of the year, to be honest.
Hocus Pocus is the most overrated Halloween film of all time.
Tough.
And I watched all 4 Halloween Town movies, and the acting gets progressively worse.
It's great, though.
It's so unfortunate because, like, you watch it as a kid, and you're like, this is the height of acting. And then it's like, wow, the only person who's decent is Debbie Reynolds.
Here's the real question.
Yeah.
Is Nightmare Before Christmas a Halloween movie or a Christmas movie?
I think it's both.
Thank you.
I think it is allowed to be both. Just like how
that is the correct take.
Just like how Die Hard is a Christmas film, and there's another movie that was like it has nothing to do with Halloween, but it takes place on Halloween. I don't know if
I feel the same way. I forget what it is, but
whatever it is, I think if it occurs around the season, it's considered a Christmas or a Halloween film, depending on what it is. So the Bermuda Butterfield, really not much to talk about, to be honest with you. I said it last week. The field sucked big ones. However, I am going to toot my own horn here. I crushed beer money last week. I went 3 of 5 on the bets.
Well done.
I told you Thomas Dietrich would win. He wound up losing by a stroke. Wasn't even to his own doing. Seamus Power just went off. I hit you with Ashley Batia top 20, Denny McCarthy top 20, finished 6th, and of course the winner Seamus Power top 10. Absolutely demolished that one. Looking forward to the end of this episode. Don't go anywhere. You're going to see it. Beer money for the Mayacoba Championship at El Camaleon in Mexico. But we got to talk about, despite the abysmal field, how good Seamus Power was. He's been kind of inconsistent, I would say, for the past, give or take, 6-7 months. He had a string early last year, probably in like February to like March or like April. Actually, yeah, right around that like Masters swing it ended, where he was amazing, top 20s across the board every single week, hitting them, and all of a sudden just kind of fell off a cliff. Finally getting back to that good form. He played incredibly well. He was 31 of 56 from the fairway, which I had said the fairway play was really important. He only did hit 50% of his fairways, but he made the most of his opportunities. 9th in greens and reg, which was about 3/4 hit. Had gained about 3 strokes total for the event. Had to have gained probably 5 or 6 putting. Like, he was amazing on the greens. The proximity, too, was a huge key to getting him there. I think proximity to the hole was like 14 feet. The shot line data didn't come out yet, but watching that final round, he was maniacally demolishing pins. Like, he was firing at them, ready to go all in. Only shot 1 under for that final round, which showed the gap that he was able to build. Also, of course, despite the bad field, the Butterfield had a cut line of -7, which is the first time we've seen that in over a decade. So despite the lack of a field, we saw some pretty damn good golf from these guys. KB, any thoughts from Butterfield, despite being meh?
So
overall?
Obviously, the people, if you know me, we here at Underground Sports have been on now a month-long bender of just successful sporting. When you say -7 being the cut line, is that bad or good?
Like, really good.
Oh, okay.
That's
what I thought. I just wanted to make sure.
That means the average score over 2 days was 7 under par.
Okay. That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure.
Because
my brain has been on RBI and strikeouts and touchdowns and goal scoring from the Philadelphia Union. Right? Yeah.
Plenty of yak with AJ Brown.
Bat signals everywhere.
Where's
but yeah, I mean, I was seeing, because obviously, I get the updates from the PGA Tour when they tweet out stuff, so I was seeing stuff go across. I did get confused one day when it was like 2020 champion, whoever it was. I was like, why are we talking about 2020? And then it was like, it was talking about like his day. I was like, that threw me off so hardcore. I was like, we're 2 years down the line from now. Yeah, I mean, like you said, it was a tournament that didn't have like the biggest of expectations, but for, the quality of golf that happened this past weekend to go down in a, event like that, I think that's just good for the sport overall.
And the worst part is that John Daly would have made the cut had he not absolutely destroyed his second round and shot 5 over. So,
pigs, what are you gonna do?
Pigs, woo pig suey, right?
That hat is so elite.
Go Hogs. My brother's currently applying to colleges, and he goes, "Yo, top 5 schools right now are Tennessee, Florida, Arkansas, Purdue, and like Ole Miss." And I go, "Ole Miss, like that's like a Ole Miss didn't get rid of the Confederate flag until like 10 years ago." Like, brother, man, what are you doing? And he was like, "Bro, well, I applied to South Carolina too. The only reason is because they gave me a free T-shirt that said Go Cox." I'm like, "Bro, what's?" He goes, "Yeah, I picked schools that would give me free shit, but also I wanted to go somewhere that like down in the SEC. So like Tennessee." He also didn't know that Tennessee was called the Volunteers, and he was like, "Well, that's lame." And then I'm like, "Well, Arkansas is like Razorbacks," and they go, "Ooh, that's cool. What is that?" I go, "It's a pig." And then he's like, "Ew, pigs?" I go, "Yeah, but it's like, yeah, but it's
a cool pig.
Pig suey." And it's like, it's cool that way.
It's like a warthog.
Yeah, exactly. Like definition of a warthog. Anyways, enough of that shit. Butterfield's done. We're gonna move on now to what's going on in Mayakoba. We're going from Bermuda to Mexico. If you look at a map, it's like Bermuda's like here, and Mexico is like there, in comparison to like Miami, which is like right over here, and then Cuba, which is like right over here. Right? I'm not a media.
Maps without maps.
Yeah. Maps without maps.
Maps without mats with McAvoy.
But before we talk about what's happening at El Camaleon Golf Club in Mexico this week, we got to talk about what else? LIV Golf. Boo. Insert the boos. So their final event of the year was this past week at where else but at their boy Donnie T's golf course. Donald, what do you make of this past week in golf?
It was fantastic. It was great. It was a great event. It was at my course. Everything is great. I might be coming back to Twitter this week because of my dear friend Elon finally putting the kitchen sink through the window of the Bluebird app. We're going to change it to red because, we can't have any of that blue around here. But yes, I'm very excited to potentially be back on the Bird app after hitting all of the birdies I hit this week at my golf course, Steve. It was fantastic time. Great time. The LIV golfers, very fine people, very great people, and everybody should be proud of the way they played. Unless they played poorly, then I just didn't see it because I only look at the elites. I only look at the elite golfers at my golf courses.
I think the best part of the whole thing, and the one thing you missed, was that in Trump's statement, congratulating Elon Musk, he said very excited to be working with another African American owned business.
Christ alive. No, he didn't.
I mean, he isn't wrong. He is South African. But
I know he is, but he said that.
Oh, Louis Oosthuizen is the greatest African golfer of all time. Sure. So Liv's inaugural season just wrapped up at Trump Doral this past week. The four aces made up of turncoats, Dustin Johnson, Pat Perez, Patrick Reed, and
very fine people, Steve. They're very fine people.
Yeah, very fine, except Patrick Reed. He's still an asshole. The four of them take home the $16 million championship cup in winning basically every single week the entire season for the team championship. The winner that week, I believe it was only a team event overall, but the season has ended. So now we must reflect on what has happened in the past 6 months of LIV Golf. They started in June. They've managed to run it out to October. 8 events, 8 cities, 3 in America and the rest abroad. Went to London, went to Jersey, went to the beautiful landscapes of Bangkok and Saudi Arabia, and managed to finish it out in Miami. KB, what do you think over the past 6 months that LIV Golf's done good? What have they done bad? What do you make of the last 6 months, and what does it mean for the future of LIV?
Obviously, you all know, Steve and I and Ben and everybody who's been on this podcast know that the backing of LIV sucks. So we don't appreciate that.
Yeah, that's a known commodity at this point. That'll suck.
But I think they have done the product itself, I think, has done some positives for the sport that I think a lot of people wouldn't have really truly thought of or been able to execute without this happening. Like you mentioned, when you had watched the first broadcast of the first tournament, you thought the product in terms of just like watchability was far better than anything you had seen on the PGA Tour.
Oh, yeah.
I think what they're doing with the clips that I've seen, on social, I think are great. And, even though people want to bash the players for going and everything, they have talented players in their field. And, I think there's a lot of positives to take away from what LIV has done for the sport, including the fact that we've mentioned this time and time again whenever we talk about LIV, is this is the most golf has been in anybody's mouths for an extended period of time like this, outside of big-time events like the Masters, the U.S. Open, the Ryder Cup, all the big-name events and tournaments and stuff like that. This is the longest that golf has stayed in people's mouths and on their news dockets during a work week. Like, people are talking about golf on a Tuesday when normally nobody's really talking about stuff until Saturday and Sunday when cuts are made from Thursdays and Fridays at tournaments, unless it is the Masters or something. So I think from that perspective, even though it has been divisive and it's been, clash of two sides of PGA and LIV, golf's been on the brain for a lot of people for the last 6-7 months, every day of the week.
Yeah, I think after watching everything unfold for 6 months, I mean, you're right. The product is better. I said it day one. I'm sitting in the office and I'm watching the first round of Live London, and I'm like, the readability is amazing.
You texted me immediately, and we're like, holy shit.
Yeah, I was like, first of all, I feel like I'm watching a soccer match, which is really annoying, because the commentary wasn't good. So immediately I muted it. Arlo White wasn't doing it for me. I felt like I'm watching Arsenal. Shout out to the Top Ends boys. So like, I'm sitting there watching a soccer event with a NASCAR scoreboard down the left side, and I'm like, I can actually see the whole leaderboard, and it's not every, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes they're gonna pull up a small little like corner box, a little lower third box, and they'll give me 5 players, and then zoom to another 5, and then zoom to another 5. Like it wasn't enjoyable. I watched every golf shot for the entire event, and it was nonstop, showing me every single shot. I watched guys like Henri Duplay, all the way to Dustin Johnson, all the way to a 16-year-old Thai kid. Like you got to actually get a full product. They then brought on actual like NBC analysts, people who literally jumped from American golf to move to Live, and they did a great job. They continue to grow it. YouTube, it was free. Facebook, it was free. The one thing that Live doesn't really have right now is obviously a TV sponsor, but like
they're working on it.
They're working on it, but with the money they've already spent, like they've already acknowledged, like the Saudi COO literally said, "Hey, like we're not going to be profitable, but we want a new product." And so immediately, what does that tell you? I mean, they don't care about getting a TV deal. They simply want to air the product and do it well, and they're still going to pay everybody who works there a ton. There's job postings on like Teamwork Online to go work for Live. Like people are gonna keep on going to this, and I don't blame them. And like the whole thing with like Rory saying that the feud is tearing golf apart, I don't think it is. You're right. People are talking about it. It's a topic of conversation every single day. It's been A-block news since May. Usually
even before then, it's probably been A-block news since March.
Probably even earlier, actually, because in October of last year was when they announced that they were going to get the first 7 names to fall. Dustin Johnson, Colin Morikawa was in talks. Brooks Koepka, Bryson DeChambeau, Bubba Watson, like those guys were all already in the mix, and they were already household names. So immediately everyone was like, "Oh, and this is in October. It still wasn't even cold out yet." Then the winter like rolls through, and you finally kind of get the gist. And I think on top of all of it too, the Greg Norman documentary came out from ESPN. That gave a whole new element to it because now Norman's pissed off and he wants to deliver this even more. So I think they have outpaced the PGA Tour in that sense, that they've given you news and they're giving you a product that you want to watch. I put in the notes here, like, what do they have to prove? I mean, well, first of all, they kind of do need a TV deal to have something substantial. I think, unfortunately, Live Golf has shown that international golf, people are not going to watch it. There was no one at the Bangkok event. There was no one in Saudi Arabia. And they're 15 hours apart. So it is even like in England where you can wake up at 9 a.m. and still catch the featured group at 3 o'clock local time in London. It was, now you're going to watch them at, I don't know, 2 in the morning and catch the feature group. Like, no one's going to watch that. So I think the next schedule is they're gonna want to revamp things. They're gonna add more Trump venues probably just because it's convenient. They'll go to DC probably. They're gonna go back to Bedminster probably, back to Doral. They're gonna keep it more Western Hemisphere. I would say go to Brazil, go to Chile. If they're gonna go to Europe, they're probably not gonna make it to Asia. I gotta be honest with you. They might have 2 events if they have a 30 event calendar, but they won't do it. I think the biggest thing though that I'll pose to you is: do you think they need more talent?
Right now, and I know I do this a lot just for my own comparison's sake. I do a lot of comparison between Live and the PLL, even though it's very much different circumstances. And the PLL is one of the few leagues where the expansion and new league overtook the old one. But year 1 of the PLL, a shit ton of the guys came over to play that were out of their contracts, like we're good to go, but you were still waiting on a couple of the big name guys who were still under contract, and it's like, all right, we got all these guys, but also when is so-and-so going to come? When is this person going to come over? And then they eventually do, year 2, year 3. But with how many guys jumped to LIV Golf right off the bat, because there isn't really a full-blown contract situation per se, like there isn't a team sport aspect, I don't know if they need more talent right away. They got a lot of the big names. They have undercard people, if you will, that aren't, your typical guys that are in the spotlight, but because they are in the field that they're in, they'll get notoriety, they'll get talked about. It is a team aspect to it as well, so that also helps those undercard guys. I think right now, in terms of who's there, they're fine going into their next season. If they get, somebody else, here and there to come over, good for them. Good for them getting their payday. But I think in the most part, I think the big name talent that was going to jumped. And the guys that are still on the PGA Tour are going to stick on the PGA Tour and do their thing there. And I think the biggest thing is both tours are just going to have to learn to kind of live symbiotically in a sense. Obviously there's going to be drama, lawsuits and stuff for different aspects of the game behind the scenes. But I think when it boils down to where it will be, I think LIV and the PGA just need to learn that they're both going to exist and they got to learn how to coexist.
The one thing that I will say is that I think you're right. They're going to have to coexist. Do they need more talent? Possibly not, because Harold Varner had a great quote. He said that he didn't want to leave. He didn't want to leave the PGA Tour. He did it because, as one of the very few black athletes in golf, actually one of literally 3, Tiger Woods and a tiny hint of Tony Finau, even though he's really Samoan. So he's already a super minority in golf. He wants to grow his brand and name, but he also wants to make money. And he said that he grew up with very little. And so he said, you know what, financially it makes sense. And I don't want a single Varner after me to ever have to go through what I had to go through. So I'm going to make my $150 million and I'm going to put it in the bank. I'm going to invest it. I'm going to give it to my kids and grandkids. And at the end of the day, I'm going to be able to make all this money. It doesn't necessarily golf is just golf for me. At the end of the day, I gotta make money and support. So I think a lot of the guys who did join LIV were in that basket. I think what's interesting is now Varner said that there's a lot of guys, particularly on his team, right? James P.O. won the U.S. Amateur. There are a bunch of guys who are in their early 20s, haven't really had any sort of PGA success, or Korn Ferry Tour guys, or even guys who won amateur majors and are coming over. They're the future. They're the guys who you need to perform. And he said a more cautionary more than anything else. It was look, if you flop, you can go back to the PGA maybe and fight your way up. But if you want to make it big, this is where you got to be, because this is where the money is. And so, do I think some guys are going to jump ship now, even in the college ranks, or even Korn Ferry Tour ranks? Maybe, because now you get to go on a premier tour that, as of next year, tentatively is going to go to 8 cities. Going to go to Australia, going to go to Singapore, London, Spain, Chicago, Toronto, Florida twice, California, Tucson, West Virginia, Chicago. You're going to go to major golf hubs, and LIV's starting to think about making their own majors now. At that point, why wouldn't you want to do it? So do they need more talent? No. I think it's going to come up in the pipeline, but it still isn't necessarily there where you want it to be in terms of fighting the PGA Tour, because, of course, you have the top 10 alone, and we saw it at the President's Cup. It doesn't compare. And then you go watch the Ryder Cup next year, where I'll be watching, and it won't be the same, because you're going to see a much different England team without guys like Westwood and Garcia and guys like that in Western Europe. So,
question for you, since you brought up LIV having their own majors, that's interesting to me. what would you want to see from LIV in that aspect? Like if they were to create their own majors, and because it is only 54 holes instead of 72, what would you want to see from a LIV major, race if they were to incorporate those?
In my opinion, and I think this is where things get interesting. So your typical tennis match, right? At least for the men, right? A tennis match is best of 5 rounds. You got to win 3 rounds. Championship tennis is 7 rounds. So you got to win 5 or 4 rounds, whatever it is. You have to push and get that extra limit. I think a major should be a 4-round event. I think it should be a team event, but also focus in on the individual. So just like how you have your typical LIV event style, make it 4 rounds. Maybe shake up the shotgun start a tiny bit, make it a little more conducive of certain parameters. I mean, golf is golf. You really can't make it much different than what you have, unless you were to incorporate a different like scoring metric, which would be interesting. But I think really it would be making it just more challenging, and going to different places that present to you a very different golf course. Just like how in tennis you play on clay, you play on grass, you play on generic like court style. I think if you do LIV golf and you want to go to like the Sahara Desert and find a golf course in the Sahara Desert, then go play it. Or you want to go find a golf course in the most woodland area of Asia, then go do it. I think you got to really just make a product that people are going to want to be like, wow, this is incredibly challenging. And argue like there are courses on the PGA Tour that are harder than Augusta. But the reason why everyone loves the Masters is because it's elite and it's Augusta National. It's been around for oodles of years. So if you can find courses that are harder than those, like traditionally the U.S. Open and the Open are harder than the Masters. The Memorial is usually harder. Riviera is occasionally harder. Again, it's going to come down to course style, but that's all I can really think about is a 4-round event that's just a little bit more difficult. Really, I dig that. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, Bryson DeChambeau says he's staying involved in the LIV lawsuit out of principle. A little odd from the scientist. We're going to talk Mayakoba, talk about the Animal Farm Major, who's going to take it home after Mac Hughes is out of the field. Victor Hovland is eyeing a three-peat. And we have some prop bets and some beer money. We're going to come right back here on the Get in the Hole podcast, brought to you by Underground Sports Philadelphia and our boys at the Philadelphia Power Company. Go and get your hands on some sick merch for the World Series. I saw some pretty dope stuff. Maybe a little LIV golf shirt that I jotted up. We'll kind of hint that and tease it a little bit right after the break. Don't go anywhere, folks. Welcome back. Get in the hole here on Underground Sports Philadelphia. KB and Steve McAvoy here joining you on a Halloween edition in the world of golf. I don't have a costume. I was a camp counselor with my girlfriend. It was a super lame costume, low key, but although I must say it was the most participatory because everyone was signing our shirts and stuff. It was pretty cool.
I'm scary enough without a costume. But speaking of costumes. Before the break, Steve, you mentioned our friends at PHI Apparel Company.
Hell yeah.
And, of course, Get in the Hole and all of the shows on our network are brought to you by PHI Apparel Company. They provide unique designs and high-quality clothing for the great fans of Philadelphia and golf with their original designs for all. There's no doubt you'll stand out in the crowd. Listeners, listen to this. You guys can use the promo code UNDERGROUND for 10% off any apparel when you shop online at phiapparel.co. That's phiapparel.co, and use code UNDERGROUND for 10% off. And Steve cooked up a Fuego shirt that will be coming to the storefront along with all of the podcast merch. Steve, I submitted all of our logos, so that logo that everybody sees on YouTube right below my webcam there, the GITH Love Park logo, that'll be on a shirt very, very soon that everybody can cop.
Hype. Super hype. Now, the one shirt that I made is actually ridiculous, and I'm so excited for it to come out. So Bryson DeChambeau, right? More live news before we finally break the mold here. Said he's staying involved in the live lawsuit out of principle. I don't know what that means.
He's a bad boy and he's going to the principal's office.
No, I find it ridiculous that Bryson DeChambeau wants to continue this fight, even though a lot of guys have admittedly said, they're going to just stop in my tracks because I'm not going to win. What do you think? Is Bryson setting himself up for failure, staying involved in this petty lawsuit?
Bryson, buddy, you staying in this lawsuit is the equivalent to you tripping over that rope. It's only going to end in failure and disaster.
Bro, bro. What a bitch move.
If Bryson was smart and wanted to play into that, he would get a long blonde wig, put an eye patch on, and be Eamon from House of the Dragon.
I'm dead.
Yeah, it's stupid. Like, there's no point for principle. Like, what are we talking about, Bryson? Get a grip. I cue the Rick and Morty video that I play every time the Phillies were driving me crazy as they were trying to clinch a postseason spot. Get your shit together. Put it all in a backpack and take it to the shit store and sell it. I don't care what you got to do, but get your shit together. Just get your shit together, Bryson. That's what you got to do.
I'm playing the bagpipes to signify his eventual funeral. I think it's embarrassing that Bryson DeChambeau is doing this, and I said this weeks ago, actually the episode that I was recording, that my mic was totally muted the entire show, and we never posted about it. Just stop. Why are you going at lengths to try and make a name for yourself when you already have this platform that you're being given with LIV to produce the content that you want to produce? He has guys following him around every single event. He's making a lot more money than he has ever before. Like, what's the point? You already dipped your toes in to make all this money. There's no point in going back at this point. Live is live, and you have to live with that.
Live is love.
Live, laugh, love.
Live is love. Rev, run.
Little hint at that shirt. Live, laugh, love. But yeah. So overall, Bryson, quit being a bitch and move on. That can go on YouTube. It's Mayakoba week, Kyle Bennett, and that means that a fun little trophy is up for grabs. And there's one person in particular who loves animal trophies, and if you don't know it by now, it's Victor Hovland. He won it in 2021, and he won in 2020, and he won it again in 2021.
Cue the hardcore death metal.
Oh, hold on. I'm gonna pull up the Victor Hovland.
The only thing that pops in my head when we talk about Victor Hovland is the Alien Ant Farm remix of the Michael Jackson song.
Victor Hovland, the Viking, Victor.
He looks like a swimmer in high school when everyone would shave their heads.
He actually posted a 21-hour playlist in September, I guess in honor of the new PG season, and it's just Metal 2022. Oh my god!
Also, speaking of PGA, real quick, I did see. Did you see Michael Jordan's a playable character in the PGA game?
So is Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Sick. I will eventually buy the game, and when I do, I'm going to wind up streaming it for the boys at Underground Sports on Twitch. So be on the lookout for that once I actually make money and I can have the money to afford that. But Mackenzie Hughes won at the Sanderson Farm Invitational like 4 weeks ago. You and Ben were on the show. Talked about the Animal Farm majors. There are 4 events or 5 events that all feature an animal. Unfortunately, the inaugural year of the Animal Farm majors, no one will win all 4. No one will do. No
one's getting the Animal Slam.
No one's getting the Animal Slam. But Mackenzie Hughes is out of the field this week.
Sad.
Who is a shot that you think, before we even get into anything about it, who has got a shot, you think, to be the second Animal Slam winner this year?
Gotta put VHov right at the top of the list. Like,
there as well. He
loves them animals. I need Victor Hovland and Snoop Dogg doing Animal Planet commentary together. Yeah, you got to put Victor Hovland right at the top of the list, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's Victor Hovland to me. Scotty Scheffler is going to be in the field this week, of course, after a torrid year. Last year, won Player of the Year. He'll wind up pretty high in the field this week. Colin Morikawa is back. Jason Sobel said, literally, I have it up right here. He said that if there's any week for Colin Morikawa to win, it's this week. In 6 events so far during the fall portion of the tour schedule, winners have owned average pre-tourney odds of 33-1, with only Mackenzie Hughes, who won, of course, the Sanderson Farm, bigger than 30-1, which means that Colin Morikawa is right in that range of every player who's won this year. And of course, he's one of the most elite iron players on the planet. So he is in the field this week. Loaded field at Mayakoba, one of the best events on the calendar. 16th year it has been hosted at El Camaleon Golf Club in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. By the way, a beautiful area. If you're a tourist, it isn't the greatest because there's a lot of people who scam you in Playa del Carmen. But resort area, beautiful place. Would love to go and golf there. One thing really interesting before we get into our prop bets. Actually, you know what? Let's just slide right into those things. Prop bets, folks, brought to you by our friends over at Pickup. Pickup. Play the headline, sign up with your phone, and we're going to lead with this one. Mayakoba El Camaleon is designed by LIV Golf's very own Greg Norman. It's the very first golf course this year, or actually ever, since LIV has been bought in, that the PGA Tour is going to a Norman design. He has also designed TBC San Antonio, home of the Valero Texas Open, but of course that happened in April prior to LIV actually opening up. With that being said, first prop of this week, how many times on the opening broadcast on Thursday will we hear Greg Norman's name? We have the over-under set to 7.5. I feel like it's a little too low.
And you're saying this is just on Thursday?
Yeah, just like in general, opening round, mentioning his name in any capacity.
Pre show, if you will, it's going to be mentioned at least 5 times, and then during the actual like go around when everybody's actually on the course, we're easily hitting the over 7.5.
Yeah, I think the opening Vegas line is a little too low. I think we're gonna have to definitely bump that up to.
We're gonna put that one on Pickup's website.
Yeah, it might gain enough traction to get to like, I think like 10 from like.
We might double that number.
I can only see Jim Nance like, oh, Greg Norman, like 15 times. That'd be ridiculous. We're absolutely going to be submitting that one. Second prop, Philadelphia's very own. We have to get him on the show, considering the greatness that is Philadelphia sports right now between the bat signals of AJ Brown. Honestly, we should probably shave the bat signal into his chest. Harry Higgs, sponsor exemption this week, making his second showing on the PGA Tour. Joining him as the only other sponsor exemption had tour status was Charlie Hoffman. You might know Charlie Hoffman from back at the Waste Management. Basically called out recycling and everything, and was like, "Yo, like this sucks," and blamed the course and everything, and then got into a little tiff with everybody about it. So Higgs versus Hoffman, who will have the better week on the sponsor exemption?
Everything's coming up, Philly. I got to give props to the boy. He is a white whale for you on this show. Whoa, this is a kid's show. Hey.
He flashed 30,000 in a fishbowl. I don't want to hear it.
He's a white whale to come on this podcast and on the main show, too, with him being a Philly guy.
He really isn't a white whale. He's fucking Moby Dick.
I gotta go Harry Higgs.
Yeah, the answer was obvious here. It's I'm riding Harry so hard, and out of context.
Pause.
Out of context. Wow. Or was it Harry? Harry Higgs. Yeah, I'm gonna take
his
him.
Nimbus 2000.
Harry, can I ride your Nimbus 2000?
Pot has got the golden snitch.
Happy Christmas, Harry. Happy Christmas, Ron. Oh my god.
Oh man.
Practicing for the ballet, Potter. We can do so many Harry Potter references right now, and I just like, in the spirit of Halloween. Shout out to the store. I feel like I could very well do just like all Harry quotes, but I'm not going to. The 7th hole at Mayakoba, also very appropriate that it's Halloween, because people dress up as like slutty nurses and slutty cowgirls and cowboys. Slutty devils are also a pretty big thing. The 7th hole at Mayakoba is called the Devil's Mouth. It's literally a cenote, which for those of you who don't speak Spanish and don't know what that is, it's basically like a an underwater cave. Most of them have water. This one's been plowed out and put a bunker into. It's about 20 feet long, 30 feet deep, and if you land in it, you basically have to chip backwards in order to chip forwards. Yeah, it's insane. It's huge, and traditionally, the 7th hole at Mayakoba here, when it isn't a tournament golf course, it's the first hole you play on. So you better hope to God that you can avoid it on your first hole, or else you're gonna have a really bad day down the golf course.
That's tough.
Over under 10.5 balls caught in the Devil's Mouth this week.
For
reference, we saw 9 last year. We saw 12 the year prior.
10.5's right in the middle. I'm gonna say over.
Yep. I'm gonna take the under. I think a lot of guys are gonna be laying up here. 3 woods galore this week. I think it's gonna be a big 3 woods golf course. We're not gonna see a lot of those in there because they simply want to avoid it. We brought him up when Mac Hughes was out. We asked, hey, who could do this? Well, Victor Hovland 3-peat. What do we think? The last time a 3-peat has happened on the PGA Tour, Steve Stricker won the John Deere Classic and bought home back-to-back John Deere lawnmowers to his wife. This is from like 2009 to 2011. I also don't know what you do with 3 tractors. Like, seems a little excessive, but last time it hasn't happened in over a decade. What do we think?
I'm gonna say yes.
Really? I think you saying yes might be an allusion to something that might be happening in about 5 minutes.
Might be.
I think I'm going to join you and say yes. I think Victor Hovland might 3-peat. I think he will. In fact, I think he will. I think he will 3-peat. And with that being said, we're jumping right into the best part of our show. Beer Money, brought to you by our friends over at Kenwood Beer. Get your hands on a delicious, mouth-watering, well, actually refreshing, really, when you think about it, Kenwood Beer. Not for Game 3, because that one's postponed. Are they going to even...
Game 3 is now Tuesday. Game 4 is now Wednesday. Game 5 is now Thursday. And the travel day, if needed, would be on Friday. You're muted.
Hello?
There we go.
There we go. I think my mic just randomly unplugged. Go to kenwoodbeer.com, open up the Kenny tracker, find your nearest packy that sells you that good Kenwood beer. Go get some.
A lot of places got it on tap too, so
true.
Head out to your favorite watering hole.
Favorite watering hole. You can find them on Untapped, really good app that I constantly use. So
got to be 21 or older to do so, of course, and drank responsibly, everybody.
I don't condone underage drinking.
Get wild, but not too wild.
I don't condone underage drinking, just like I don't condone climbing up street poles. But at the same time, though, it's Philadelphia in the World Series.
Hey, I condone climbing up said street pole. Somebody responsibly tossing you a delicious ice cold Kenwood beer on the street pole. Which, did you see that video?
No, I did not.
Somebody climbed up the pole. Someone tossed a beer can up to the person. They caught it, cracked it open, and poured it into the mouth on the pole.
That's iconic. Great. Let's see who's going to be jumping on Mexican street poles after they win at Mayakoba. Your top 20 pick to lead it all off.
Oh, man. Let's see. My top 20 pick. Let me pull my list for the field up real quick.
You go right ahead. Very interesting field this week. Of course, a lot of really good players here this week. Tony Finau will be involved. Scotty Scheffler, Colin Morikawa. What are we thinking?
Let's see. I'm going for my top 20 pick. Going to be I'm gonna say
drum roll.
You know what? This is gonna be a wild pick,
Let's hear it.
but I don't know why. He's just standing out to me. CT Pan.
CT Pan for a top 20. I'm gonna go Thomas Dietrich. You can call it a slight for taking the guy who finished runner-up to finish top 20, but the field's gotten better. 5 things to look at, and all of my guys kind of fit these molds. Social gain approach is really important here. The thing to consider when it comes to this golf course, the greens are gigantic. They're not super undulated. You can have really bad chipping, aka Victor Hovland winning back-to-back years. He literally won it because he ball shredded his way there and his putter was good. Past Palom grass, you don't really see a lot of that ever on tour, so there isn't really a hard metric to like find than you would like Bermuda and bent grass. Hitting the fairway is really important. Accurate driving is huge. Opportunities gained, greens and red gained, all those numbers are really important. Thomas Dietrich is top 10 in the field in all of those. He has 3 top 10s this year on the DP World Tour, including a runner-up, obviously, this past week. So I think top 20 is almost like a slight to him to put him that low, but I think it's at that point it's free money plus 130. Top 10, who do you got?
Give me my boy Colin Morikawa.
I'm going to take Tony Finau, a pair of top 10s on this golf course. Ironically for Tony Finau, despite being a super long driver of the golf ball, he plays better on shorter tracks. Now, I mean, that sounds obvious because he hits the ball further, but he actually had the same driving distance this past year as Jordan Spieth, which I think says more to Jordan Spieth than it does Tony Finau. But he plays better on short tracks, so I'm going to trust Tony enough here. Only 7,000 yards at Mayakoba. It's a pretty short golf course in comparison to everywhere else you play, and he'll easily make the cut, push his way to a top 10, and go from there. Top 5. What do you got?
Top 5. Scotty Scheffler.
Of course. Take the
Scotty Scheffler.
I'm going Colin. I think, like, again, if there's a week for him to finally win and get back, it's now. Up and down year last year. The greens are huge. He's a really good putter. The field is like on par where like he'll only have to beat out realistically 5 to 6 guys like hardcore to get there. And he's the best ball striker in the world, or one of, if not the best. So I think it's a really easy play here to go with Colin. Your gimme play of the week, the easiest money you could possibly make.
That boy Harry Higgs from Philadelphia gonna make the cut, baby.
Oh man, I really hope to God he does, and I hope he flashes us and jumps in the water.
Harry, come on the pod.
So Harry has the hamburger meat on his chest. I'm gonna take the guy whose name is a sandwich. Tom Hoagie, top 20.
Hey, Schwarberfest over here in the Philadelphia area. So, you know, Hoagie Fest, Schwarberfest. Well, I like where your brain is at there, Steve.
Well, Tommy Hoagie's got 4 top 20s this year already. He's only played 5 events, so he's already on fire.
He's playing really well.
I said this about Billy Horschel like 5 months ago. When you look at the top 25 to 30 players in the world, and you're like, all right, like all these names make sense, and you see Tom Hoagie, and you're like, who the fuck is that? Tom Hoagie is from the backwoods of the Midwest. He learned how to hunt before he learned how to hit a golf club, and he's a top 30 player in the world. He's going to finish top 20 this week. Easy money, 4 top 20s in 5 attempts. Your winning pick, if we rewind, going back to that Hovland 3-peat, what do we got?
Y'all see the chain if you're on YouTube.
The lightning bolt?
Give me the king of the animals. The king of the kingdom, Victor Hovland.
I'm going to take him as well. This is called Zombified. It's by Falling in Reverse. It's the first song on his playlist.
Great band.
Boy.
Why does it sound like a sort of CBS NFL a little bit?
Oh, here we go. What is this? This is Melt Into You by the Oklahoma Kid, which makes sense because he went to OK State. You know, golf is such a happy sport and so quaint. It's like the videos you see where it's like the birds are chirping and everyone's just pitching on the grass, and then you let's go in the mind of Victor Hovland, and like you speed up to his face in his like Beats headphones, and all you hear is like Victor Hovland's gonna win. Go for the three-peat. Do something not even Tiger Woods has ever done, and that's it.
That's business, baby.
That's the business. Hour up, hour down, and we are going to let you all go. Welcome and thank you for joining us here on the Getting the Whole Podcast. KB, Steve McAvoy here on another incredible episode. Happy Halloween. Enjoy the time. We're going to be back next week. I don't even know what's happening next week. It's another fall event. I never really know what's going on the following week. But you know what? Let's go Victor Hovland. And with that being said, we're going to let you out with some more tunes.
Happy wedding anniversary.
Thanks for listening to Get in the Hole, the official golf podcast of Underground Sports Philadelphia. Catch us every week wherever you get your favorite podcasts, and be sure to like and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Get in the Hole Pod, and follow Underground Sports Philadelphia at Underground PHI. We'll see you next time, and remember, get in the hole!